Welcome back to Pole on the Call podcast. My name
Woo.
is Mændy Mac,
And I am Cris Rivers.
and today we are super excited to be here with Amandalyn Morighan and talking about the competition survival guide.
Woo! Oh, yes.
Yay! And Amandalyn is a pole champion. She just recently won the US pole champions and also PSO.
Pole theater.
Oh, pole theater. I'm sorry. I messed up already, but it's okay. We'll just continue. Thank you so much, Amandalyn, for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
It's truly our pleasure. Before we get into the nitty-gritty and the topic of the episode, do you mind telling us a little bit about your pole journey and where it started and how it grew?
Sure. I started around the time of COVID. So like when I started, we were wearing masks in class. So we definitely didn't recognize anybody when we saw them out. So I got into it because I have a background in gymnastics and dance, and growing up I'd always had that sort of outlet, and also just a camaraderie with a community of people that were also doing that thing that understood you on that level. And I think growing up or being an adult, you kind of lose that, and I was sort of searching for it again. And I had been taking, dance classes as an adult and all of those things, trying to sort of find that again. And I remember being out somewhere and seeing this girl I saw what I know now. I didn't know what it was at the time, but I know it now. She did a flying body, like just a reverse grab. And I thought that was the coolest thing on the planet. I had never seen anything like it. And I was like, I'm doing that. I'm going to do that. And like whatever I had to do it. And so I signed up for a class, and it was just kind of a beginner class. And I feel like the community that I was looking for, I was like, this is it. This is the thing that I had been looking for. And so that was really when it kind of locked in. And then after that, I got my home pole set up, and they weren't teaching in the classes I was taking. They weren't teaching the flying body or the reverse grab. So I started teaching it to myself because I'm very impatient. Because that was just like the only thing I cared about. I'm like, when I have like a trick that I really want, and I'm still this way, I'm like relentless, like a dog with a. And so I did a bunch of online tutorials about it. The one that was like really clutch was Annette Blauer has one that on YouTube that is the one that's the best one, and I still credit that tutorial to like the reason a lot of my power spins are the way they are, because that's sort of like fundamental technique that she has, which is still kind of like my preferred style of power spins. Everybody has like their own thing. And so from there, I started training at Phoenix Fitness and Dance, and became besties with the owner there, Sarah, which I think you guys know. And then I started teaching there a little while later, and I guess that's sort of it. I started competing. I think I started competing pretty early in my pole journey. So I kind of went up through the ranks, every level, did a competition at each level. So I had kind of the experience doing all of that stuff at like a level 2, when we used to still call it exotic, at PSO, and that kind of thing. So yeah.
Such a fast journey. You had a
It
lot.
was a fast journey. I won't. Yes, I have definitely not been doing it as long as a lot of my co-competitors. I totally credit the gymnastics background and all of that stuff, because when I started, I was like, oh, like this is I feel like this feels like home. Like I've done a lot of this. I'm just like switching apparatuses. So it felt pretty natural. But then you do get to a point where it's like, oh, now shit is hard. Like it doesn't stay easy, but you do hit that point where you're like, okay. But yeah, this is a quick one. I think definitely for sure.
That is awesome. Thank you for bringing up how gymnastics kind of helped because I was going to ask that next question. And shout out to Annette Blau. I always get her last name wrong, but I'm obsessed with her videos, so I definitely understand.
She's my queen. All hail.
I love that. Yeah, so she's one of the few power polers that makes incredible tutorials and videos and gives you the conditioning for it. She's really
She goes into detail too. Like it gets really, so for the people who are real obsessed with it, like she gives you what you want. You
yes.
get, the specifics, not just, hey, you just fling yourself around and do the thing. Cool. It gets into, a lot more of the like physics of it, which I really appreciate. So yeah, definitely.
Yes. Love the physics and pole dance connection. Oh my gosh. I love too how you were obsessed with that one trick and you just like went for it. I feel like all of us, when we first start, we had that one, we're like, okay, I want to do that.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, the flying body, I think we call it the layer.
It has a lot of names. I've learned.
I like that flying body though, because that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, so I learned it as flying body. I heard reverse grab. I think Annette called it a reverse grab. And then it's also called a dislocator. I've heard it called an Una spin. I've heard it called something else that I can't remember what it was. But yeah, I've seen it called a bunch of different things. So it's like when you hashtag it on Instagram, you have to do like PD this, PD that, PD that, all the things.
Oh my gosh. PD dislocator though, like that also makes sense. Unfortunately,
rip your arm out of the socket.
Oh my gosh. Oh well, so you got into competitions right at the beginning. You said, what was your first competition?
Atlantic, PSO Atlantic.
Yay!
Local. Yeah, it was local. It made sense. It was actually the one during COVID that was kind of small, which actually worked out pretty well because it wasn't as overwhelming as I think it could have been. Because sometimes it's pretty packed and it can be intimidating. So it was kind of a lower key atmosphere that year. So it gave us a chance to, me and a couple other friends from my pole studio, we all kind of went in it together and kind of braved our first competition, out at Atlantic. So I think it was a useful time to like learn about the ropes, like because you could actually like talk to people and I think it was good.
Right, and then from there, millions of other competitions in order to come with your
you got a little
guide
obsessed with it after that. Yeah, which I don't know why, because leading up to it, I'm like, I don't understand why I'm doing this. This is horrible. I think everybody's like that.
That is too funny. I was gonna ask, how do you do so many competitions?
I'm not even the worst. Like there are some people who are way worse than me, and she knows who I'm talking about.
Yes.
But yeah, I think I knew I wanted to do USPC again. And I had already gotten into pole theater. And so this year just ended up being kind of a long competition year, more than normal, just because I started earlier for pole theater. And I just kind of changed the routine for each competition for like whatever the judging criteria was or whatever the type of competition was. And so it just ended up being a really long comp season for me this particular year. I don't think I want to do that again. I want to like do a little less this coming year.
But you said you did the same piece? You do
I did,
so
yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine like overwriting the muscle memory to make it slightly different.
It's a thing. Yeah, it's not an easy thing. I feel like the first iteration or the first like change, like iteration on the original, was the hardest to break some of that muscle memory because I tried to change it more than I ended up actually changing it. And there wasn't enough time. I think you need a lot more time. Like a few weeks is not enough to really wipe it clean because I just could not get it to work. And I was like, you know what? Forget it. Forget this, forget that. Cut this, cut that. Like all this stuff that I planned on adding. I was like, fuck it. We're going to do the original. And we pretty much did the original with maybe like one or two different things. But then when I had more time for USPC is when I was able to really kind of change it up a little bit. And I had some tricks that I had been working on that weren't ready for pole theater, but I think they were ready for USPC. So I was able to put those in. So yeah, I think I need more than 3.5 weeks to do that. So I think that, yeah, a lot of people probably would too.
Yes, I'm actually going to start that method in January for 2025 competition year, and I'm excited because I guess it works for a lot of people to kind of
Use a routine the whole year.
yeah, and then built it.
Uh-huh. I actually have not done that before until this year. And I'll never not do it that way because it honestly, it's so expensive. The costume, the travel, all of that stuff, the hours in the studio, it gets to be a lot. And for me, I take a really long time to choreograph. So because like I'll spend an hour on like an 8 count, just like being weird in the mirror, like doing something that is like not a big deal at all, and nobody's gonna notice it but me. But to me it matters. So yeah, I like to have that extra time to put the routine together, and then once you perform it, you kind of learn what works and what doesn't. Because sometimes being on stage, I always say like being on stage is like performing high. Like it's not the same as doing a run in the studio. Your brain is on all kinds of stuff. And so like some things work when you're high and some things don't work when you're high. So you have to kind of make adjustments based on that. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's a great analogy. Do you feel that the piece was like it's now a masterpiece because you've worked on it so much?
Definitely not. I mean, I could continue changing it and refining it until the end of time, until it was like not even the same routine, because there's always things that are just like, it could be a little better. Yeah, no, definitely not anywhere close to a masterpiece. I think it is probably the best I could have done it in the time that I had. But if I wasn't completely sick of it, yeah, I mean, I even like after the last run I had of it in Boston, I still went off and I wrote notes as if I was going to do it again, even though I'm never going to use it again. But these are the things that I would change. And I don't know why I did that. I just do it because I'm a psycho.
So like you never know. Like I'm bringing back a piece from a few years ago, so you never know.
Yeah. I mean, in this piece, it deserves to rest because it was originally one that I did for a competition when I first started pole. The song and basically like the concept and some of the choreo, not much, but like the beginning position and all of that stuff was from the original when it was like a level 3 piece, I think I did. So I really liked it and I wanted to give it like the full, what I can do with it now treatment. So yeah, it's done its job. She's ready to go to bed.
Oh my gosh, I love it. It seemed like a masterpiece to me when I saw it.
Well,
It was spectacular.
And it worked. Because can you tell us about your wins?
Yeah, still a little bit, surreal. So Pole Theater was the first one, and that one I'm like kind of big into, vibration and manifesting. I'm like, super weird. But I was really in, I feel like, a zone for that one, creatively and just vibrationally and all of those things. You know, and just, it just felt like I always, in hindsight, I can always tell when I'm going to win a competition. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like I can kind of feel it. And then and I'm like able to sort of sense when I really want to win it, but I know I'm not going to. But I feel like I don't know, I just like felt good about that competition. And I was super excited about the video that I had. A girl at my studio who does like video editing as her career made that video for me, and I would just watch it over and over and over again because it was just so cool. And so I just felt really inspired at that time, and I was excited about the choreography, and I wanted to stretch myself a little bit more creatively. So it was kind of as much as it can be, an enjoyable process to put the routine together, right? Like it's never like really enjoyable, but yeah, I think the vibe was really good, and I really enjoyed being there with all of those people. And I think I would have been super thrilled even if I hadn't won it. I just had like a really great time. So yeah, that was very surreal. I have a tiara. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that tiara, but I definitely wore it downstairs at the hotel for coffee in my pajamas the next day. So that was fun. So that was pole theater. That is a great competition. I highly recommend anybody who's interested in like really stretching themselves creatively and having the opportunity to really have control over your lights, your video in the background. Like you really get to put together a whole production for yourself, which is very, very cool. So that was pole theater. And then US Pole Champions, I had done that one before. Actually, that was the first time I competed there last year was my first pro level competition ever. And so I went into that one like, I'm just here for the snacks. Like I am not trying to place. I do not care. Like super I'm just happy to be here. And so either, I was definitely intimidated, a lot of imposter syndrome for that one. And so I went into it just trying to be like, all right, just put on a clean run and, be happy with that. And I had a pretty clean run. I kind of knew that routine wasn't it. You know what I mean? Like I actually love the routine. It's meaningful to me. But it wasn't as far as I can go creatively. And I know that competition really is a place to really put out there your authentic creativity that is gonna make you memorable. So after that one, I kind of was like, I'm doing this one again, and I want to do it like for real. And so I was like crossing my fingers, like, I hope I get in. So when I got in, I was like, all right, let's fucking go. And let's use the same routine and, amp it up a little bit. So that's pretty much what we did. We added a little bit more difficulty to it. The core of it was pretty much the same. So not a ton of changes, but ones that I thought were appropriate. And plus there was a time change. I had to shorten it. So that was the thing. So I had to cut out some stuff. There's this one part that I really liked, and I was kind of sad to cut it. I'm always sad to take things out. But there's like a part where like I walk forward and it's like this whole like dramatic thing. But it doesn't really work without the video, and I didn't have time. So it, had to get cut. But yeah, so that was that. And like USPC, like it was very surreal to win that one. Cause like I didn't place last time. And so to come back the second time and when it was crazy, that was just nuts. And also the people that were there, I was like, you know what? Again, I'm just happy if I have a clean run, because some of these people are like insane. So yeah, that was that one. So yeah, it's been a little bit of a ridiculous year.
Yes, it's awesome. I was wondering, what was the difference that you noticed between training for the two different competitions? Because one is very artistic, pole theater. One is kind of it's artistic, but not as artistic as theater, if you get what I mean. What was the difference?
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. There's more of a blend of the sport and the art with USPC. I think the big difference for me was for pole theater, I was able to worry less about the difficulty and not feel like I had to keep things in. And so I was ripping things out of that routine left and right, because I was like, that is not the important thing about it. And so if it's not working and it's stressing me out, cut it. Which I think ended up being the right decision. But it was a little bit different for USPC because I was less quick to cut something that wasn't working. That's always a problem for me. Like, I will wait too long to cut something that isn't quite working, which is always why I'm coming up with a brand new spin pass 2 weeks before competition. That's like my thing. It never comes together. Spin pass is the devil. So yeah, I think it just allowed me some freedom at pole theater to let go of some of those things, because I always pack too much shit in and I have to start pulling stuff out. And so it was a little less trick stressful, if you know what I mean. And then USPC had a little bit more of that trick stress.
Thank you for sharing that. Mm-hmm. Lot to think about.
And I also did this routine at a couple PSOs, which was also a very different experience, because PSO I did championship, and this routine's like very artistic, but I feel like it's like straddling the line between artistic and championship. So I wanted to put it in championship. So it was definitely tricky to make that work, because I think there were some things probably missing from it that needed to be there for a championship routine. So it's very different for PSO.
I believe it. So much thought to be put into like every specific competition.
Mm-hmm.
All the creative solutions you had to come up with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the strategy is a thing.
Yeah. That's why it's so important to know the rules of the competition before you get it.
Yes. Yeah. Read the rules. You can't lick the poles. You can't throw stuff off stage.
Oh,
know what you're doing.
Yes. Well, what are some, do you have any cross training that you do for competitions? Do you want to share a little bit?
Yes. So I do weight training once a week. So I have a trainer that I see for that. And then I do a lot of recovery stuff. So I do flexibility training, not as much as I should, admittedly. But I do a lot of very intentional recovery stuff as part of the training. And I think that has been one of the most important things. The weight training is a big thing, yes, but making sure that you are resetting yourself is super important.
Thank you for bringing that up, because we forget that when we build muscles, they need time to repair themselves, and the active rest is hard to find when you're competition training, for sure.
Yeah.
How far in advance would you recommend that you would start training for a competition? Because I feel like for our studio, we start 3 months before.
I think that's right. Yeah, at minimum,
Okay.
at least 3 months. If I can start earlier than that, I definitely do. But like I said, that's because I take forever to choreograph. For myself, like when I'm choreographing for other people, it's like boom, boom, boom. It happens like super quickly. And for me, I'm just like the cobbler's children have no shoes kind of thing. Like nothing is ever right. I think 3 to 5 months is probably a good amount of time. If you want to be, you want to be doing like full runs the month before. I never am, but you should.
Right? Like I feel like I would never be ready like a month before, but I think
No, we're getting like proper runs. Like if it's a new routine, 2 weeks before the competition, we get like a full run that is like cleanish, right? Stuff never comes together until the very end for me. I'm the worst.
Right. Everyone works so differently too, but I
I know what I should be doing, and that's not it. But
do you want to share like a competition training week, like what you would do?
sure. So I tend to do I'm very I have rituals. I tend to have the same week every week. So Mondays I will train for like 2 hours. Usually Mondays I will focus on running the passes. So I'll run each pass depending on how far we are along. If it's early and I'm still building up endurance and that sort of thing, we may do a little bit less. We may focus on like a couple of the combos. We may focus on like figuring out a pass or that sort of thing. But as it goes along, it starts to become you run the spin pass 3 times, run the static pass 3 times, and then like spot clean things after that. And then Tuesdays tend to be like little fixes. Like if there's small, I'm usually kind of tired on Tuesdays. It's just the way the week shakes out. So I will do what I can. Like if I can run the pass like once and then fix a couple things, or if there's one particular thing that isn't working, I'll spend some time troubleshooting it. Like Tuesday is troubleshooting day. Wednesday is rest day, always. That is every single week. Thursdays, I will typically do a run. And depending on where I am in the prep phase, I may start with just like running half of the routine. And then running a second half, or running, I'll go as far as I can before I'm dying on the floor, and then, we'll see where it goes. And then Fridays, if it's as we get later and I have ramped up endurance, I'll do runs on Fridays too. And then usually comp training time, I tend to not train as much on Saturday and Sunday. Depending on where things are. This last comp season, I was training on Saturday a bit, so it just kind of depends. And then I'll do my weight training on Sundays. And then I think that's probably why I'm tired on Tuesdays, to be honest. But yeah, I tend to have that sort of cadence for every comp.
Wow, training like a professional. That's why you're winning.
Yeah. Right. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Yeah, Chris and I are starting to train for the end of the year, or maybe something in between. So it's
What
good.
are you guys going to do?
I'm definitely going to do PSO Northeast.
Okay, all right.
I am, God, someone told me like it's been 2 years and I didn't even realize it's been 2 years. So I'm gonna definitely do PSO Northeast, but I'm also doing Exotic Generation Virtuals, which is in June.
Ooh.
And I really want to try US Pole Champions and Pole Theaters. I have 3 routines I'm working on for the year.
Let's do it. Do it.
This is a year where I kind of want to like, you know what? It's your year, Chris. Fight the imposter syndrome and go fucking take it.
I mean, you know what? Who cares? Forget them. You do what you want to do. Imposter syndrome is throw it out.
Yes, amen. I'm excited. What competitions are you doing this year?
I don't know. It's an odd feeling. I am currently not signed up for any competitions. It feels very weird. I don't know what to do with myself. My training is crazy right now. I'm like all over the place. I think I will probably do Carrie as my next one. I think that's in the summer this year. So I may do that. I may do Dallas, depending on what the timing looks like. So one of those two. We'll see what the schedule looks like. And then after that, I don't fully know. I might do Land of Lakes. I might do US PS. Oh my God! Don't start me in the letters. The one of the things. One of the big letters. Yeah, one of those. Probably an artistic, not sport. The sport scares me.
Is it the one in Florida, the IPSF, I think?
There's one in, I thought it was in North Carolina, or maybe, I don't know. Clearly I need to do more research because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Hey, we are like that too. OMG, there's so much out there now.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what you come up with. That'll be fun.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do you have any more tips to share with anyone for training for competition?
Oh gosh. I think one of the big things that I will tell people when I'm coaching them for competition is to stop competing. Like, don't think about it like that, because they'll be worried about who's competing against them. They'll be worried about whether, they're doing enough or whether their routine is hard enough. And I get it, right? Like, I have all these same thoughts. And I think over time, and not just in pole, but like in other, sports in my life, you kind of have to you have to focus on yourself. And so I think the way to go about it is you can compete with yourself and focus on what you're doing and try to do the best you do the best you can with the time you have, and not let the external stuff come into your bubble, which is hard. It's super hard, right? Because you're looking at the lineup and you're like, shit, such and such signed up. You're like, damn it. But you got to put it away, put it in a drawer and let it go. Because it's really easy to get caught up in it and let it kind of take over your whole thought process, right? Like, you're going to like, oh, I got to put this trick in because such and such is going to do this thing and I got to be competitive. Like, no, don't do that. Stay in your lane. Do the things that are right for the routine, that were part of your creative vision, that are in your like green zone tricks. That's another thing I'll mention in a second, but like things that you can do safely and comfortably, and maybe like some things that are stretching you, but you got to focus on your lane. But yeah, for green zone tricks, I also tell people most of your routine, like maybe 75 to 80% of your routine, should be green zone, meaning these are tricks you could do easily. Like, you've been doing them for a while, you are comfortable doing them, they are not new, not necessarily new. I mean, I guess it's possible a new trick could feel like a green trick right away, it's possible. But they should be things that you don't have to really stress about. They don't keep you up at night, because there's always one trick in your routine that kind of keeps you up at night. It's the one you're thinking about going in, which is why I say like most of it needs to be green zone. And then you can have maybe one or two that are yellow zone. You can have one that is red zone. That is like a stretch goal that it is the one. And if you have none, even better, but no more than one. And especially not more than like a few weeks out. If you still have like more than one red zone, then you got to start taking some of those out. Like red zone is something that's not working, or it's something that you're inconsistent with. It doesn't have to be something you're scared of. It can just be something that doesn't work every time. But definitely something that you're scared of. If you're still really scared of it, then, that probably means you're not fully ready to put it on stage. So I think that's a big thing that I will tell people. Learn from experience, because I have put a whole shit ton of red zone things in a routine and had to rip them all out towards the end and replace a good portion of that routine. So that was a big lesson learned for me.
No, those red zones need to turn orange.
Yeah.
Simplifying it, because that was one thing I learned fast. Like, you cannot be adding a bunch of tricks you are not ready for in your routine, because you spend most of the time working on those instead of the full piece itself. And
Exactly.
I like how you break it up with the red, yellow, green light, yellow light, red.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. But no, that's exactly right. Is that you spend so much time on these few things that the choreo goes out the window, the detail work goes out the window, the execution goes out the window, your stage presence goes out the window. All of those things get a backseat when it should be the opposite. It should be those things are first, and then maybe a stretch goal can get thrown in there. So yeah, that's a big one for me. And I'm still like working on it, right? Like I still sometimes will have a couple of red zones, and like my coach Sarah's like, let it go. You gotta let it go. I'm like, but no.
It's funny. I love it. Do you currently have a red zone that you're working on?
I have a few. I have a lot of red zones. I have a lot of things that are not comfort. One of the things that I have is, there's like a fonji variation that I'm trying to do that is like it's from the elbow and then it comes back and then it returns, but I'm having a hard time with the catch from like I'm doing it from the elbow and then the catch is like not quite right. So that's a red zone. I would not put that in a routine. A flyby to cup grip. For some reason, that one messes with me a little bit. I actually had a pretty bad fall out of that recently. And so I think I have like a little bit of a mental block going that I'm working through. But yeah, so for whatever reason, I have a hard time with the wave on that one, if you know what I mean. So that's probably one. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch. There's a lot more. I just spent my last training session pretty much falling on my ass for an hour doing like various things. So that's 90% of my training is falling on my ass.
Yes, I love how all your red zones are like on my pole goals. I would just love to even attempt it.
It never ends. The list of things never ends. No matter what your pole goals are, it just keeps going. You'll never get it done.
I know I got my baby fungi, and now I want my fungi, and now you're
Yay!
talking about this elbow grip thing, and I don't even know what it looks like, but it sounds fun.
You know what's funny about that one is that the one part of it, you know, the cast off, you know, you normally catch in your shoulder mount, and now when you catch in the elbow, I got to tell you, it's like way fucking easier. It's so much easier because think about like you're right there. You're just going like that. And I was just like, why didn't anybody tell me? I could have been doing this the whole time.
So you're catching in like an elbow shoulder mount type thing?
Yeah. And so like you're in this this grip here, and then you twist, and all you have to do is kind of lift your elbow. So you're not even doing the full thing. So it's one of those things that you put it on stage and everybody's like, oh my God, it's so crazy. And I was like, you guys don't even know. It's easier. But whatever.
Will you be teaching that in any upcoming workshops?
Probably not in a workshop yet, because I haven't. So I have a Fonji drills workshop, and I'm actually going to be teaching that one in Boston in January. But I haven't put that in the workshop yet because I feel like the elbow shoulder mount is a little bit harder of a prerequisite than a regular shoulder mount. So I will say that it's easier if you have the ability to do that elbow shoulder mount. And so I haven't tried that out live yet. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll be like, you guys just give it a try, see what happens at my own studio. I make them guinea pig stuff. So maybe I feel like that's one of those that's like you have certain things that you only teach in privates because it's hard to teach to a whole class. But I do have a Fonji workshop for like I have a ton of drills to do for it. So
hey, I know someone who might be signing up for that workshop.
Yay!
Not me, but
you're like, I love that journey for her.
Well, it's actually for Cris, because Cris has been working on Fonjis for quite a while, and I think I was so happy to see that there. Not for me.
I know we're gonna make it happen. I would love to dance with you January 7th in Somerville.
Yes,
I'm signed up for your hardstyle workshop.
Oh, really? Oh, awesome. I was just working on that today, actually.
I'm so excited. There was only one spot left when I signed up, so.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that. Okay, that's cool.
Too funny.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, 2025, it's my top goal to be a student. So Mandy sent me this today. I was like, why not? January 7th, that's like a perfect day to get into being a student more.
I do that too. That is one of my goals for this year. It was one for last year too, and I did okay at it. But for this year, it's a big one too, is to take more virtual classes and get into more, because there's always something to learn. Even if you're going to, a level class that you've already been through, like you always can refresh your technique. And maybe somebody has a way of teaching something that's different. And even as an instructor, you can always, you can validate if you're teaching it right. But you can learn different ways of cueing things. And I love it when other instructors come to take class, and I go and take class with other instructors in the area, because I just think it's, important to build the whole community, not just one place, right? Like we're all kind of building up the area that you live in. You can all kind of work together to raise the level in general, not just in tricks, but like just the level of, dance, the level of heels, whatever it is. So yeah, I think Boston's going to be fun. I'm glad you guys are coming.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Fungi. I love the baby fungi, but it's with normal pole. Like you got one side, but then when you go into the next trick, it's like your least favorite side. So I've been conditioning that.
Bane of my existence is this that you speak of, going from one side to the other side. Nothing is ever on the right side for me. I swear to God, I always have to like pick one. Yeah. When you say baby fungi, do you mean like? I've heard people call different things baby fungis. Are you talking about the shoulder mount flip fungi?
No, the flag to a funny grip invert.
Okay. Yeah.
That's my goal.
That's a good one.
That's my go-to now. Right now,
I love it. I think it's cool, like on its own.
I agree. Right now with my fungi, like my right flag, I'm killing it. But then to get to my left shoulder mount, I've been working on my left shoulder mount, or vice versa. Like my right shoulder mount, I'm killing it. But to get to my left flag.
Yes, I know that pain. I really, really understand that pain.
Yes, I'm excited. We're gonna make this happen.
Yeah.
January 7th, summer. Oh, this episode might come after, but we can make a clip, Mandy.
Yes. Right. I'll make a clip. We'll post it. We'll get all of your workshops will sell out.
I hope so. I mean, you're always a little bit nervous. You're like, no, what if nobody likes me?
No, you're amazing. I also wanted to ask you, do you offer online classes so we can continue learning from you?
Yeah, I do. We can do virtuals through the studio that I work from. So they have a virtual class private option that you can get. And so really, if anybody's interested in a private, you can just DM me on Instagram and I'll help you figure it out, because sometimes it can be hard to find stuff. So, but yeah, we can definitely do virtuals. We have like a little setup there with a big TV. So yeah.
We'll have all those links and everything in the captions. OMG, would you be open to teaching for an online studio, online classes? Because I'm starting a new project in 2025. I'm trying to build a community for an online student to have pole dancers teach from home. Just, yeah.
That's a cool idea.
Excited. I think it would be awesome for students and instructors to kind of try something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that.
Need content like yours to be put out there virtually.
Oh, thank you.
Right. Thank you for offering online lessons, because sometimes people come from areas that don't have a lot of pole studios, and maybe we want to train with a champion.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I know online classes can be difficult sometimes because it's hard to not, when you don't have a spotter and stuff like that. But I encourage people to get the resistance bands too, because if that is a helpful thing for virtual classes. I know some people are not into it, but I'm very into resistance bands for training.
Yes, I swear by them. I hated them at once, and then you're right. They're absolutely like, once they help, you're like, okay, now I get it.
They have saved my life a couple times. I mean, they've made me look like a damn fool many, many more times, but I feel like the benefit outweighs the few blooper reel videos that I've gotten from them.
And I have pulled out many leg hairs because of them.
Oh my God, yeah, I can imagine.
Good.
I don't do any skills that would require me to use those things.
I mean, but have you ever tried like tying yourself to them and just like bouncing between the poles?
Yes, I have definitely done that as a silly, yeah. So I guess I do use them. Well, we talked about your red zone tricks, but do you have like a go-to pole trick?
Yeah, I have a few of them. Flying body, it's freaking go-to. I feel like I did it so much that it's like my jam now. It's my favorite thing. Still is. I still would say that's like one of my absolute favorites. I think so. Actually, right now it's either flying body or like flyby is my new favorite. I really like them. It's the where you start and then you grab and then you go under and then you grab and then you do some kind of phoenix.
So those
Typically,
are flybys. That's been another one of my goals, and I played in a net blower.
So it's funny that you say that. She actually is the one who taught me a flyby. I went to mountain pole camp, and I learned it from her in person, which was super, super cool.
That must have been awesome.
It was amazing. But yeah, the one I'm working on now is the flyby to the twisted grip, which is a little scary. And I think I had to put it away because I started like balking at it and creating more mental block, and I was like, I need to stop. So, but that's the next big one that I'm working on.
I can't wait to see that. That would be fun. I always try actually, and I could get the hand up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to bring it around.
It's the worst part.
I don't think I'm getting enough like space from the pole or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, I mean, and people do flybys in all kinds of different ways. Like some people, like there's variations of the wave on every spin. There's variations of the wave that you can give it. And I feel like flyby is one that, I don't know, for me personally, I like to have a big wave. And so like when I start it off, I like to like get a big arc so that when it gets to that point, I'm very far away. And so I have a lot of lift to do that switch because I think it's a lot harder to do it when it's more circular and you have to like get there with very little distance. So yeah, that's the most difficult part for sure.
What pole grip do you recommend for this?
Oh, I use like 4 or 5 different grips. I am an ITAC person. I admit it. I'm sorry, everyone. But not like a ton. I don't bathe in it. I just put a little bit behind my knees, really. And then for hands, I do dry hands and then monkey grip on top of that. And then alcohol, spurts of alcohol, and then I clap them together. I'm very ritual focused. It's got to be everything has to be very OCD 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just so that's my thing. The monkey hands and the dry hands.
I'm working on new grips because my hands are just clammy. And
do they do the thing where the seasons change and like your grip stops working?
Yeah.
I feel like that's happening to me kind of right now, and it's maybe to everybody.
Yeah, I am not a pole dancer in the winter.
You're on hiatus.
Yeah, just like it might happen. You might see it.
Better.
I feel like it's getting
I'm a floor worker and just
Yes.
Floor workers.
Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah, my hands get that weird like they're dry, but they're also like pruny at the same time. It doesn't make any sense, but it is a thing.
It's a new state of being.
Right.
Winter.
Worse now that I'm older. Like back in my 20s, it wasn't so bad. I didn't even need grip. Now, like, yeah.
Right. Skin changes over time. I've been noticing that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think like any kind of, change in your physiology, like your diet or any supplements you're taking, who knows? Like all of that can have an effect. You never know.
Yeah. Do you have any special nutrition tips to share?
No. I try to eat healthy during comp season. I do a meal service. I don't know, people probably heard of Factor. I do that one. They're not paying me to say that. And honestly, like most of it is not that good, but it's relatively healthy and it forces me to eat some vegetables, even though I only eat like half of it. But I don't know, like I feel like that offsets all the Taco Bell I eat.
A girl of my own heart.
Yes, Mexican pizzas all day.
Yes, there's nothing like smoking a joint and then hitting a Taco Bell.
Oh my God. I like to train really hard and then go get Taco Bell. It's like my favorite.
Yeah.
I'm like, I earned this.
Yeah, you did it. It's a lot of protein and supposedly
Yes.
it's better than McDonald's and Burger King. So
100%. Yes, and they have this new like Apple. What's it called? Not an enchilada. It's a thing. There's like a new apple dessert thing that they have.
Ooh,
that's really, really good. So you should get that.
Lately, I've been obsessed with their decades cravings. Which comes with like one of everything.
It sounds amazing.
Good times. Okay, back to pole dancing.
I mean, they're sort of related.
I agree. Not to me for you like Taco Bell. What else can we talk about for this competition survival guide? We have covered so much.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like I'm a little ADHD and a little all over the place. So I feel like we've been bouncing around, and that's my fault. But yeah, what else could we talk about? One of the big things for me is like mental training is a big thing. And I would consider that like part of my cross training even. So more than just kind of working your routine and trying to just stay calm about what you're going to do, there are ways to sort of practice that calmness, which I feel like has really helped me a lot on competition days. And so meditating is one way to do it. And it doesn't have to be, the way of meditating you think everybody does. We're just, there are other ways to go into that calm state. If you're just like listening to a guided meditation or listening to, I don't know, like some chakra balancing music or whatever it is, right? But you're just kind of, focusing on breathing and just like calming yourself down. And I do that as part of my day of ritual every time. And I feel like it does make a difference because I've had a couple competitions in the earlier days where I was a mess. Like going into it, I was like, oh, like not good. And then like the last 3 or 4, like I've gotten to the stage and I'm like, this is weird. I feel like I should feel worse. Like I feel like I should be more nervous. And like I'm actually okay. Like I'm in control. And for me, it's always that worry of not being in control of your own body. Like my shakes are going to be so bad that I'm not going to be able to grip or something like that. But I feel like it really has helped me calm down quite a bit. And then also like get yourself like a coach, like a mental coach. I know it may seem like something that's not necessary, but I feel like having somebody to talk to about that stuff is really, really helpful. So I talked to Heidi Coker as my mental coach. So I will meet with her and, we'll talk about things that are stressing me out, and she'll offer breathing techniques. We'll like dive into like some of the specifics of what is, causing, if I'm not in the right headspace, like if I'm thinking too hard about who is my competition, or if I'm not, doing that. So like, it's helpful to sort of keep you on track mentally, to have that guardrail. And it doesn't have to be, something crazy like that. It could be just somebody at your studio that you work with that is kind of like, we're mental coaching buddies or something like that, where you can kind of like keep each other on track. That could work too. But some sort of intentional mental training, I think is really useful. And one of the things that I also do that I really swear by, and other people may think it's, woo-woo, but I love it. So Heidi makes these hypnosis tracks. So if like you talk to her about certain things, and it could be as specific as like, I don't trust my grip on this one part. And she'll make a custom hypnosis, and it'll like, and it's not, she does it in a way that is not, you should trust your grip on this part. Like it's different. It's like bigger. And so I feel like those have really helped me a lot. And it helps to keep me calm. Like I'll listen to them before a competition. And there's one of them, like to this day, I fall asleep every time. And that's, I think, what you're supposed to do. I still don't know in the middle of it. I still have no idea what she's saying. I couldn't tell you. I sleep through it every time. It's in here somewhere, right? I think that's the idea, but, and it's working. It works for me, I feel like. But couldn't tell you what she said. She could be saying all kinds of crazy shit.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. I think that you're the first person that's actually talked to us about like the mental part of it, which is so important, obviously, because our brains and our bodies are connected.
And after comp care too, right? Like people forget about that. Like the after comp blues is a thing, right? Where you go up on this high, and then right after comp, even if you win, it's like, well, now what, right? Like things are, and so I think having a person that can help you work through those things intentionally, not just like, oh, I feel like shit today. It's like, let's unpack it. Why do you feel that way? It's like, you feel like you should be doing something, or you're used to being at this high level, this highly, energized level of training. And now it's like, well, now I don't know what to do. And I still, I have that where I'm like, I don't know what to do with myself, but I also know now I am aware of the fact that I will go into that sort of space. So I'm able to kind of, I think acknowledging it is the biggest part, because then you can be like, oh, that's the thing. That's the blues. So I can kind of like let some of this go that is not really necessary or serving me in any way.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Heidi Coker is amazing. I had no idea she had those resources.
Yes. She's amazing in like every way.
Yeah.
And like I'll train with her on tricks too. Like I've almost killed her on trying a 360. Sorry. But she's going to be at Phoenix Fitness and Dance in January. She'll be teaching some workshops there. I think there may be some spaces still, but yeah. That's a crazy good opportunity for people. If you haven't ever trained with her, you should definitely do that.
Yes. Right. And like, do you have any like mantras that you do, or?
Sort of.
You just reminded me of them.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like I have a different thing for every comp. One thing that I'll do is I'll kind of write down like keywords, I guess, like things that and it may be different for everyone. Like if I am looking for intensity, or if I'm trying to be, and maybe it's both, maybe it's intensity and calm, right? Like your stage presence or your character is intense, but my internal self is calm. And so I'll have like maybe a list of like 4 or 5 words that I want to focus on for that comp. Which I guess, you could put that into a sort of mantra. But yeah, I had this one comp, and this is sort of stupid, where you guys know Dune? No?
Mm,
The
Dune-
movie, like the movie in the books,
sorry,
Dune?
movie in the books or a person?
No. Oh yeah, you know that guy Dune?
Yes, I saw the movies and was interested in reading the books because they look pretty good.
Yeah, so there is a thing that the and maybe some people will have heard of this, and I'm a total nerd. But the Bene Gesserit have this thing that they say, and I'm going to butcher it now, but it's something to the effect of like, fear is the mind killer, and I'm going to and I am the, the stone, and fear will wash over me, and then it will, and then only I will remain, or something like that. I don't remember it now, but I was in the middle of like reading the books for the second time at that particular competition. So I was like, oh, that's good. So I like kept kind of repeating it to myself, and I feel like it worked. I feel like it kind of calmed me down. Fear will wash over me and through me, and then only I will remain. Very silly. But I think the idea is just that like, it's just an emotion. Like you let those things like pass by you, right? Like this is not a permanent thing that's going to stay. And so I think that was kind of the idea, but silly, dork.
No, it's not silly. I like it. I think
it's sort of
important because you don't know how you're going to act backstage there. I'm always like, I have to pee a million times.
Yeah.
Oh, so I just Googled that quote because I was curious. It says, I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. And the other one was, I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to read these books.
I don't think I said the whole thing. That seems like a lot when you read it, but I feel like I said maybe the movie version. Maybe that one's a little bit shorter.
I love it.
Oh yeah, if you like any of that kind of stuff, like definitely read those.
It's so good. Everywhere.
Okay. Well, do you have any other things coming soon for you?
So obviously we talked about Boston. So I'll be teaching some workshops there, and I'll have availability for privates there too. So I'll be there for a week, so I have a little bit of time. And then after that, I don't really know. I feel like I have a whole bunch of free time, which is crazy.
Who are you?
I know. I don't even know her. But yeah,
You're a champion.
I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play for a while and like work on some of these new things and fall on my ass a little bit more. Because now I have like the time. I have the time to do it. Because when you're training for comp, you can't do any of that. You have to set things aside. Like maybe I'll try one thing, but if it doesn't happen right away, I'm like, not now. And then the only tricks you know are the ones you're competing. And then you come back and you're like, well, I don't know how to do anything. So.
Oh my gosh, that's such a real feeling.
I've always wanted to ask, and I think I need to start asking, how has winning the competitions kind of changed your life or kind of your pole career?
I mean, I think it's nice in the sense that it's giving me opportunities to teach in other places. And I think it's funny, like when you hear people talk about like the UK winning competitions, I think there are people who say, oh, you don't get like, attention and pole from winning competitions. I feel like in the US though, it's a little bit different. I feel like it's harder to just put out good Instagram content and make it a thing. Like I do feel like there is still an element of the competitions, helping people do stuff here. So, but we're also a smaller overall community than, in Europe because they have a much larger community over there. So, I think the best part is that it's giving me the chance to meet a whole bunch of new people like all over the place. New pole friends is always like a huge bonus. And then I love teaching, so getting to teach in other places is just really an awesome thing. But other than that, like day to day, my life is still the same. Like I put on my pole theater crown, and then I get myself dressed, and then I do the dishes, and I vacuum the house, and I feed the cats, and then I take off my pole theater crown. I'm just kidding, I won't do that. But it would.
I would though.
Just like vacuuming and
I would.
Yeah. I probably should.
Right. You're awesome. Let them know at the supermarket.
I mean, just because it's pretty. It's pretty and it's really sparkly.
Yes.
Sweater with a QR code and say, if you want more information, take a picture.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I love it. Well, thank you so much. This was so much fun and so inspiring. And I learned so much, and I'm even more inspired to compete this year, or I guess it will be this year when this episode releases.
Yeah, you're right. It will be 2025. Crazy.
2025. Yes.
Yeah, this was fun. Thank you guys for having me.
Yes.
A pleasure. It was so nice to get to sit and talk to you because we like momentarily said hi at PSO.
Yeah, we went.
Right, met you in the hallway.
I can't wait.
And I couldn't talk to you in Boston because you were judging.
Oh no! You were spectacular. Oh, I can't wait to pole dance with you in person in Boston.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And hopefully again soon.
This will be fun. Fongie class, January.
Fongies, all day fongies.
Yes. But until then.
Shoulder mouse. We got this.
Yes. Yes, thank you everyone for listening to and watching this episode of Pole on the Call podcast. My name is Mændy Mac. Ducks. Yes.
I don't even know.